Some people are famous. Some people are sort of famous, but not that famous. But most of us aren't famous at all. But there's one thing that most folks have in common, is everybody's got a great story. Hi folks, this is Mike Cotton, your host, and you're on board once again with our series called Their Stories. And it's your stories as well, of people from all walks of life and fascinating things they've done and been involved in with a positive slant. So without further ado, I'm involved, I don't want to say politically, but I guess within the arts, the movement, the community efforts with the music. And where I've lived as far as South Florida, Brevard County, Cocoa Beach, Melbourne, a lot of people know I spent a lot of time there as a surfer. Being in Pensacola, we now have a blues society that I kind of put a call out. When was this, Jim? 97 or something?
No, 1996, the summer.
Okay.
I got a poster of you, your original poster.
Oh, my God. He knows more about me than I know about myself.
I'm telling you, I researched it,
I
buddy.
have memory loss, too. But anyway, so I put a flyer out there, a feeler. Does anybody want to start a blues society? We already had a blues jam in Pensacola that had been going on for a number of years at Seville Quarter and Lily Marlene's. In fact, the second day I moved here, the gal I was going to eventually marry and her sister said, get your bass, get your blues gear on and come on down to Seville. And I sat in. So who is this mystery guest today? He's the vice president of the Blues Society in Northwest Florida. Everybody talks about you need to do this and need to do that. The difference between those people and somebody like this, they volunteer and they actually do this, okay? And these are jobs that don't really pay anything. You have a good time. You get to play music. You get to meet some of the most incredible musicians from around the world.
Absolutely.
And so in fact, we just finished taping Rocky Blyer, Pittsburgh Steelers. This guy is a Pittsburgh fan originally from Pittsburgh. He's not from the South, y'all. He's from up north.
Michael, I'm from the Southwest.
Oh, Southwest, okay.
Southwestern Pennsylvania.
Oh, well, there you go. And I work with a lot of, in fact, I'm going to do an eulogy for Billy Burns on the 8th down in Lake Worth, Florida, who was one of my best harmonica players and singers in my band Shades of Blue. But he was from Philly, but he played a lot in Pittsburgh as well. Mm-hmm. Had a band called Juke Rockers. Anyway, please welcome Mr. Jim Richmond. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing great, Mike. I didn't know how long you were going to talk about me there. I wanted to talk about the Blues Society.
Oh, no, 45 minutes, and and then you'll get 5 minutes on the mic. How's that?
There you go, buddy.
You're going to get your chance. So, Jim, just let's talk a little bit. I mean, and by the way, Jim is a top realtor in this area. He's got a family. He does a lot of other things too. But, running a blues society it takes time. And to be successful, you got to work out, and you got to have good people around you that are going to help you. Scott Riggs, currently the president.
Scott Riggs is our president, and he books all the bands. Right. And between Scott and I, we keep things running pretty smooth. We got a great board of directors now. We just had our elections.
Excellent
we got
job.
Some good people that are volunteering to help. We're going nowhere but up.
And I'm a part of the members' army, so we're always
That's
there.
Right, you're part of the blues crew.
If they need something, and I guess we're the. Did you call us the legacy?
The legacy. Yeah, you guys were the legacy.
We did the legacy
people.
band.
Yeah, the legacy band.
Yeah, which was a bunch of old timers. I was amazed.
Last year's festival. Yep.
Yeah, I was surprised we could. For 4 or 5 songs, we got all 4 guys to actually stand up and not have to sit down.
Yeah, no one had to sit on a stool. That's funny.
But we still cooked pretty good, I thought.
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
yes, you did.
Well, music will keep you happy and keep you alive. Talk a little bit about yourself, okay? So I know you've helped us with China Beach, and you've carried the colors, and he's a big fan of the film. I mean, a lot of blues people and surfers too. The older ones, they're military veterans, they're Vietnam veterans, they're Iraq War veterans. So I don't know what the connection is, but
Mike, you're absolutely right. My connection with China Beach and you, which was one of the earlier times I met you. I had 27 years in the United States Navy and retired, and I'm a Vietnam era vet also. So when I heard that you were doing this and you were taking this show around to the different Fleet Reserve Association branches around the Southeast, I thought, I got to get a hold of this guy. And then once I met you, and realized this is the guy that's been coming to the jams on Monday nights playing the bass. So it was kind of cool. So yeah, our blues society has been going strong since Scott, Lee Maskery, and myself started when we took over about 6 years ago.
You reorganized.
We reorganized it.
Great.
We started with nothing. We went around and got some donors, and their impetus to donate to us was, you're going to be called a legacy donor, and you will be recognized in perpetuity. Anything we do, the legacy donors will get recognition.
Okay, I'm not going to charge you for your appearance. It's free to do.
Well, then you can become a donor. But, long story short, those people gave us the money that we needed to incorporate and become a 501c3. And from that point on, the Blues Society in Northwest Florida has really been rocking.
And let me say this about these, because to me, number one, jazz societies, blues societies, different societies like this, preservation groups, number one, it's for the fans, because without the fans, they're really, we could sit in a room and all play music to each other, but we got to entertain the fans and give them quality music and the art. So, but you've got to be a 501c, especially when you go looking for corporate donations. They usually won't write a check unless you are a 501c.
Absolutely.
Because they can write it straight off as a charity. Now, I've done a lot of events and festivals, and they were smaller startup nonprofits. And I said, okay, so we're going to go to the Ford dealer or the Coca-Cola guy or the Budweiser guy, and we're going to tell them we have set up another sponsorship for advertising. So, but really, the biggest bang for their buck, tax-wise, is donating to a 501c corp. So,
and we have both. The legacy donors, we never ask them, although a lot of them, I would say the majority of them, continue to donate. But we never ask the legacy donors once they give us an initial offering. We cut the legacy donors off once we got our 501c3. We now have sponsorships, and those are renewed annually, and that's where we keep building and building every year, is through sponsorships.
Let's back up a little bit. Now, so did you grow up, are you a military brat? Did you grow up?
No, sirree. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, home of those mighty Steelers. Hi, Rocky. I'm going to check out your interview with these guys. But, yes, I was born and raised in Pittsburgh. My dad worked for the Continental Can Company Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I never left Pittsburgh until I joined the Navy.
Your stories, I guess you got similar ones out there. You settled in Pensacola. Were you stationed here, or did you just happen to choose to come here?
Yeah, I was, before I came here, I was still in the Navy, and I was stationed at Rota, Spain. And I had called the detailer and told him, listen, my fund meter is pretty much pegged. I think I'm going to put my papers in to retire. I got 24 years. It's time. I'm going to go back to the States.
And for those who know, this guy's a chief, so I'm going to sit up in my chair. And,
no, you don't have to sit
he's
up.
like a gunny.
I'm a chief, yeah. It's my parents were married and to each other. However, the detailer, who is a friend of mine, he said, hey, Jim, why do you want to retire from Spain? He says, I got a good billet here in the United States. You can come back here, get your feet on the ground, find yourself something to do afterwards. And when I asked him where it was, he said, Pensacola, Florida. And I had been through here one weekend for a TAD assignment, and I thought, this is great. And I stayed here. I stayed here for 3 years, retired, and never left.
The rest is history.
The rest is history.
Well, let's kind of go back a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the history of blues. How did you find it? I grew up in it, basically.
Yeah, you're one of the lucky ones.
Yeah, I
really had to
was.
stumble into it.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't care as long as, I was actually on urban radio for 8 years, okay? That would be like R&B radio for older black folks, okay?
Sure.
And nobody in Central South Florida would let me on with my show. All the rock stations, the blues is dead, nobody's going to listen to it. Meanwhile, you got Stevie Ray Vaughan and these people coming along. But the black stations opened their arms to me and said, you know what? Even if this sucks, we got a white guy on this black station playing the blackest music of all. and so that became a story. And again, the rest is history. And I lasted 8 years before I went on to do some other projects. But it was it taught me a lot about what people think is the blues. So I could be playing a Stevie Ray Vaughan, and an older black lady would call and go, "Was that a
play
white?
some blues."
Was that a white? No, or they go, "Was that a white boy?" I go, "Yeah." They go, "Damn, he plays the guitar." Okay.
Yeah.
Or I would play a Bobby Bland, and a white kid would call and go, "Who's that guy?" Oh, well, he's like best friends with B.B. King. And blah, blah. Oh, I heard of B.B. King. Well, everybody's heard of B.B. King, but have you heard of Freddie King and all these other kings?
The Three Kings.
Yeah, the Three Kings. You're doing a tribute. That's good.
Yep.
But my life was, before I knew anything, I would go to my dad's club. And in the front of the bar, even when it was a country western place, he had legendary Piano Red, boogie woogie, upright piano player who goes back to the generations of the 30s and 40s with Blind Willie McTell and his brother Speckle Red. He was a pink-eyed albino. And there's a lot of stories. We'll do a show on Piano Red once. But a lot of stories about Red. He was pretty damn funny, actually. But I would get to sit on the bench with him every Saturday. The Atlanta Piano Tuners Guild would come and rebuild the piano that he would tear apart all week. But a lot of big bands, too, I met.
Well, Mike, see, like I said, you were fortunate to grow up in it. I stumbled upon it. I was one of those bands that was doing classic rock and top 40 and things like that.
Which you didn't know a lot of that came from the blues.
At that time, no. But then I would say in the late 90s, I stumbled through a personal friend of mine, Jay Platt, one of the legacy blues guys around here, drummer, yeah. He took me to a blues jam, and back then you were doing it they were doing it at the bowling alley.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is pretty cool, because I was getting to the point where I was almost ready to stop playing, because I was getting older. I was probably 60-some, and I thought, why am I singing some 20-year-old kid's songs and top 40, and when you're this old gray-haired guy. But then I heard these guys playing the blues, and I thought, I can do that till I'm 90.
Yeah.
So that's what hooked me, was going to the blues jams. It used to be run by Mike Bounds, our previous president, before we took over. And I've just concentrated. That's all I do. When people hire me, I tell them, you're not going to hear a Buffett. You're not going to hear classic rock. Mm-hmm. When I learned classic rock, it was new music. It wasn't classic rock. It was new.
New rock, then.
Yeah. So, but we play the blues, and it's working out wonderfully for my band, as well as for the Blues Society of Northwest Florida. I mean, we've got some pretty good things coming up as far as the Blues Society goes.
Let's kind of go down the roster there.
Well, roster-wise, this June 29th, of course, Seville Quarter is one of our major sponsors, and they're providing the venue for us to use on June 29th. It's going to start about 2 o'clock. It'll be over by 7. We're going to do our Pensacola Blues Fest 2025, but this is actually our 30th anniversary of the Blues Society. 29th anniversary of festival. Your first festival came a year after you guys started it.
Yep.
So that was 29 years ago. It's soon to be, this is going to be 30 years in June. That's your anniversary you got coming up there, big guy. But check out who we got coming, okay? We're going to have, we always have a youth showcase. That's part of being an affiliate of the Blues Society, or of the Blues Foundation.
Blues is the schools, right?
Yes, that's right. And the youth showcase, we're going to have them playing for about a half hour. They'll be playing some blues. Then we got Janelle Frost, the Shay Lynn Band, Tully Bray, and Eric Johansson. That's a stellar lineup. I mean, everybody's going to enjoy it. If you're a Blues Society in Northwest Florida, if you're a member, admission is free. If you're not a member, general admission is $10. How can you beat that? $10 general admission for a lineup like that.
Yeah.
And we have VIP seating available where you can pay a little extra. You'll get some perks like some food, and you'll get special seating up front and in some balcony areas where you can see things better. And all you got to do is call me. Can I give him my number, Mike?
Well, blast away. In fact, we'll probably throw some of that up on the screen too. But go ahead and give them the contact information.
Yeah, the contact information would be, of course, call Jim Richmond, and the number is 850-418-1328. I've got the seating charts. I know what seats are available. I'll take good care of you. But this is our annual thing we do every year. In addition to booking over 150 shows a year. I mean, this
You know,
blues society is
they bring
busy.
in touring acts. It's a chance on Monday night to see just phenomenal bands that you wouldn't normally see here at all. You know,
And we've had Victor Wainwright. We've had Taz Crew, Brandon Santini, Josh Garrett.
Diane Rain from the
Big-
movie Home Alone.
Yeah,
She's
Big
an
Al and the
incredible player.
Heavyweights.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we've just had a lot of great acts come
Yeah.
through here.
I'm-
And they play our little society on Monday nights.
I missed Early Times. I've been wanting to meet him because he's on
Early Times,
He's
anyway.
on
He's
satellite
on-
radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he still does the shows. I think he kind of goes in and out of plant, but boy, he knows the stuff.
I mean, we've had Kara Granger from Australia. She
Yeah.
was touring the country, and she played at our venue.
Yeah, some of these, like we have a kind of a Skylar Softly. Is he from Alabama or?
Skylar's from Alabama, yes. He is that kid. And I say kid, he's in his early 30s. But
Yeah, at
he's
our
an
age,
old
anybody under
soul.
50 looks like a kid.
I have shoes older than that.
Yeah.
But he takes and he actually studies the
Oh, he's a
artists.
time warp.
And he plays them
Yeah.
just, you would think T-Bone was in front of you
Yeah.
playing. That's how good this kid is.
I got to experience a little bit of that in the 50s and 60s. My dad said these big bands, if they just got to play on the weekends, the drummer, the guitar player, usually a horn player maybe, and the upright bass player, they would start these little bands. They called them jump blues bands. And
Jump blues, that's, yeah.
And the guitar player, you know, at the time they didn't have the giant amps at all. But Skylar plays like a hollow body Gretsch or a Gibson.
He plays an old hollow body Gibson.
Yeah, I would be afraid to take that out of the house.
Yeah, it's a classic. Yeah.
But he dresses in suits, and
yeah.
he's like, I mean, this would be like the 1950s watching one of these big bands,
He's
small
incredible.
groups.
And when he plays, when he comes to Seville, the whole place is packed. He puts on such a
And they
great show.
listen. They
Yes.
listen. You know.
You know, I'm going to say one thing, Mike. That's the thing about the blues and our blues society. When people come to see any of our acts that we have there, they sit at a table. They got chairs and a table. They got food. They have drinks, and they're paying attention to the band. Where if you're, because it's a great venue. You go to other places, you got these classic rock bands playing, top 40 bands. No one's paying attention to them. They're shooting pool in the corner. They're trying to pick someone up at
They're
the
an
bar.
afterthought, yeah.
Yeah, you're just kind of background noise. But when you come to a blues society show, you're actually getting a show.
Yep.
And there's never a cover, and we will never charge a cover charge to come in on Monday nights.
And
to,
that Lily
to hear the
Marlene's,
blues at
for all
Lily
you
Marlene's.
sound freaks and musicians, the sound in there is what I call juicy.
Yeah.
It's got that. There's so much beer soaked into the wood there, and it's
Yeah.
all solid wood. Kind of reminds me of a place down I used to play called Rickenbackers down in Gainesville, and they even have the airplanes hanging from the ceiling. And
Oh, yeah.
In fact, Bo Diddley used to play there. Tom Petty, I think he was house band there for years. But you know, that's the glamorous life of being a touring blues musician. You never know where you're
Yes.
going to sleep, or you know.
That's
But you know,
absolutely
I
right.
wouldn't trade any of it. In fact, just let me put a plug in on the. I think it's the 8th. There'll be a tribute to Billy Burns, who was the last, other than me, surviving member of the original Shades of Blue band, and I'll be doing somewhat of a eulogy for him at Rudy's or Ruby's in Lake Worth. So asking everybody to come out and all your old friends, and we're going to end up having a jam session when that's over as well. So it'd be a chance to see a lot of people we haven't seen in years. So just a little plug for the Blues Society down there.
Yeah. Plug? Did you say plug?
Plug.
Do you know that the Cat Daddy Blues Band is doing a tribute to the Three Kings?
I
Albert,
saw
Freddie,
that. Tell
and
us all
BB.
about that. Yeah.
Well, it's going to be at the Great and Beer Company.
Well, how many kings
Santa
is it?
Rosa.
I only thought there was BB King. There's other kings?
There's three kings. If you know the blues, you know that there's three. There's BB, Albert, and Freddie.
Right.
And we're going to do a show there with nothing but their songs. There won't be any Stevie, no Clapton.
Where's this going to
No
be?
Blind Lemon. The Great and Beer Company. It's in Santa Rosa Beach.
Okay. And
It's
when's that
coming up
gonna
on May 15th.
Okay.
May 15th.
Put that on your calendar, folks.
Yeah, check it out. It's we love doing shows like that. We'll be doing a 2.5-hour performance of Nothing But the Kings.
Plus, the Blues Society now is they're stepping out of the box somewhat, mainly because a gal came to town named Rhonda, and she's promoting the Jazz Society. And
Yes.
Jazz societies tend to be a little older group, if you could believe that, than blues societies. And I was asked by Norm Vickers years ago, who had, I guess he was a de facto president for probably 20 years, to step in. And I said, well, I'm involved with the blues. I'll help you. But so now they did a little that sold out. It was coming up a jazz cruise out on
May
our
1st.
ferry.
Yep.
And then Rhonda called me and said, I want to do blues. I go, well, that's a smaller boat. I think it holds about maybe 100 people or something. I says, but so you can't have like blues rock. You need somebody that's a little more traditional and could tone it down. And Jim and Skylar were on the short
gentleman
list.
of the blues.
Yeah.
That's what a friend of
Okay.
mine calls me.
So it's just kind of an effort. We're helping each other because jazz is kind of the first cousin to the blues, even though the blues begat the jazz because blues was here first. But,
Right, it was.
but it gets intermingled a lot of times. So you're not going to plan. Tell us a little bit about that cruise. That's coming up, in a month?
Yeah, I want to say June 5th. I hope I'm right on that date. And it's down at the Pensacola, the ferry boat.
Right.
And they'll have hors d'oeuvres, you'll have live music.
Right.
We'll be playing for a couple hours there. And you can see the Pensacola sunsets from the boat. It's going to be fun. It's not our first time playing on a boat. The Cat Daddy Blues Band, we played on pontoon boats for NAS Pensacola.
Oh, there
they
you
have
go.
a nice Blues on the Bayou annually. And it's a challenge, but we brought our stuff on board the boat, hooked up to the generators, and played.
Whatever it takes to get it done. The only boats we played on, we had offers years ago to go to Guantanamo Bay, and something
down
had come
Gitmo,
up
yeah.
politically. But we did play we call them the Cruise to Nowhere out of Fort Lauderdale, Miami. They just go out past the whatever the line is out there and open the casinos. And remember us playing up in the bow of these ships and being heavy seas, and we'd be playing, and all of a sudden you look down and the floor is like 3 feet below you.
Yeah.
You're a Navy guy, But those are great gigs. We do 2 1-hour sets, and they had to give us an open bar and the buffet, and we're like, that's great.
Well, our Blues Society, and we touched on it, and I talked about the festival, but every Monday night at 7 o'clock, we have a solo duo act.
Yep.
It could be one guy, it could be 2 guys or gals. We don't discriminate. If you play the blues, come on. Then from 7:30 until 9, we have what we call the host band. That's the band that we actually pay.
Right.
And those are the bands that you had brushed upon where they might be traveling. They played in New Orleans or they were in Mobile, and they're going to be in Tallahassee on the weekend. So coming through Florida, they get to play here on Monday nights.
Route 'em in.
They play from 7:30 until 9, and then from 9 until 11, the jammers.
Right.
That's when I get to play with Mike Cotton and have him
You're
stand up there
embarrassing
with his
me.
bass guitar, and I get to jam with Mike, and we usually have some good drummers, sax
But
players,
Ashley
harmonica
does half the
players.
work. You know that. You know who Ashley is, right?
Ashley.
Ashley. Like Swamp Ash.
Oh, yeah.
That's my bass. It's the legendary bass.
Yes.
It's about 20-pound Fender. I think they only made about 200 of those, but it literally is made out of swamp ash, heavy as hell. But I'll tell you, the tone when I play through my rig is a 61 dual Showman Fender, and through 215 EVs, you feel it as much as you hear it. But I did a lot of 3-piece, what they call blues rock power trios.
Sure.
So the bass has got to cover, a rhythm guitar and the bass, and work with the drummer.
When that guitar player goes to the lead, that bass got to step up.
But I'm not. Jim accused me of being a little like Jaco Pastorius one time. I go, I'm pretty far from Jaco. So,
well, how about Howie, my bass player in my band?
Howie's great. I love Howie.
He just got a vintage Roscoe's, whoever Roscoe.
I
is,
saw that
bass
online.
guitar.
Yeah.
I don't know the basses, but I know he's very thrilled to get it.
Yeah.
He paid a good bit of money for it.
Yeah.
And he broke it in on our last gig just this past weekend.
Yeah. Well, you can get carried away. I'm getting ready to start buying some vintage stuff, vintage equipment.
Sure.
Which is,
You get gas.
yeah, I'm getting a stand up. I'm probably going to paint it, match my new car, candy apple red, and we'll bring that out every once in a while.
There you go.
Let's kind of shift gears now on the worldwide and national scene. There is a national Blues Society organization and an international. Is it still out of like Oxford, Mississippi? Is that where that's administrated from?
Excuse me. The Blues Foundation is what it's called, and they're based in Memphis, Tennessee. The Blues Foundation, if you want to be an affiliate and you're a blues society like we are, you have to be a 501c3. Otherwise, you cannot be an affiliate. Right. Once you become an affiliate, then you're authorized to host annually a regional blues challenge. We do that every year in August. We get local bands, we get local duos. They compete. We have judges, just like they do in Memphis. 3 judges, and they grade the bands, and we take the top band and the top duo, and we take them to Memphis, Tennessee with us. That's usually in January, late January, early February. That's the International Blues Challenge.
Right.
And that's where you're competing against people from around the world.
Right.
Because they did the same thing that you did. They competed at a regional blues challenge somewhere that is an affiliate, and they come to Memphis and they compete.
Hey, folks, you haven't lived to see a Japanese blues band sounds just like Muddy Waters, but they can't speak a word of English.
Oh, yeah, or Korean.
Or Korean, yeah. It's the blues is worldwide, but the blues is a feeling. You know, it's everybody can really relate when you get down to it. So, you know, it's So that's become another phenomenon that's gigantic.
Yeah.
One of the things I kind of been throwing this around the last couple of weeks with the members is I've never been on one of these blues cruises, and I'm saying why don't we get together, even a little group? They sell out really fast, but there's a half a dozen of them now. Ones that go out for a couple of days, other ones that go to the Caribbean for a week. And I think you get to jam on most of them. They have jam.
That'd be pretty cool. I mean, I have to make sure I get my kitchen pass to get away. But
all right. Well, I'm gonna be a committee of one to do some more investigation. So
all right. Well, there you go.
Let me see if we can find out.
And keep me in the loop when you find out.
This would be a great. I need a vacation.
It's not about the money.
Yep.
It's about
Yep.
being able to schedule it in
Yep.
between closings and
to do something.
veterans groups
Yeah.
and whatever.
You got to watch the calendars for all this stuff too.
Yeah.
You got it. So, well, anyway. So what else? What do you got, Mark? Mark's sitting over there, our producer. Nothing could happen without him.
I just appreciate the fact you guys are here, and my biggest thing, I know you guys have been around a long time, and what's the passion behind the whole deal?
Yeah, as a civilian, what do you, this?
Passion behind it.
Behind the blues?
Yeah.
It's just something. What brought me to it was that I felt that I could legitimately stand on a stage and sing blues when I'm 80 or 90 years old versus me up on stage when I'm 80 years old singing something from Bruno Mars. Don't get me wrong, Bruno Mars, talented young man. But come on, you want some 80-year-old guy singing Uptown, Funk You Up.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not going to...
Yeah. We might sing Funky Butt, but that would be the
And it's Americana. This is an American genre of music. It's not imported from anywhere. It's here in the good old U.S. of A. We created it, and it was created out in Mississippi, up in Chicago, the electric blues in Chicago, Delta blues in Mississippi, New Orleans. I mean, all these guys in the South, they created it, and we've been enjoying the fruits of their labors over the years. I love the blues.
Yeah. Muddy Waters is saying Muddy Waters plugged his acoustic guitar into an amplifier and electrified it, and Muddy said, then the blues had a baby, and they called it rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Tupelo, well, Elvis
was from Tupelo, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Yep.
BB was from Itabena. But they're all over. I mean, in fact, I helped put on a concert for this. There's only 2 Mississippi blues markers in Florida, and one of them's over where Dave's CC Club used to be, north of Tallahassee.
The Bradfordville Blues
Right,
Club.
which was later, and I think it's all closed down now, unfortunately.
Well, they had theirs before we did.
Yeah, no. I remember, because I had an office over there, one of my events offices. But we, 5 Sisters here, finally got designated, and we had a big, Gwen McRae came out. She was in a wheelchair then, and some big-time acts that were, from this area. In fact, I'm a little bit of a historian on that. I've been trying to do a documentary about that neighborhood called The Blocks.
Yes.
And when I moved up here in 92, one of my very good friends, Joey Gilmore, who I brought up here a few times, Joey was like South Florida's B.B. King. Great guy, and he used to hire us to back him for shows. But he said, Mike, they're going to love you up there. He said, when I was 16, and for you blues cats and kittens, he used to travel with Junior Parker. He had a song called Driving Wheel and some other ones. And he said, every year we came through Pensacola, and he said, we played this neighborhood called The Blocks. It was like a little miniature Harlem. And they had the Bunny Club and Abe's 501 Club.
Bunny Club's still there.
Yeah, Jesse's Records, and they had a radio station above that. He says, get down there and let me know what's going on. Now, this is later on, because that was happening in the 50s, 60s, maybe the 70s. So I got down there like a Tuesday afternoon, and there's nothing happening at all. And there was a payphone, okay, then 92, 30-something years ago. So I go over to the payphone. I says, "Hey, Joey, I'm down at the blocks. I'm looking at the Bunny Club or whatever." He goes, "What's going on?" I go, "Tumbleweed. There's tumbleweed coming down the street." But I says, "I heard a rumor they're trying to bring it back here." But the history of that is great. I've tried to find old 16 millimeter film that the local TV station shot. We understand that was destroyed. The stories are just like other cities, but bigger cities. They would sneak the white kids in the back of the club, and they would sneak them up in the balconies. And then it got out of hand because the white kids started jumping out of the balconies onto the dance floors and grooving with the music. So, music is, I always have this one saying, I got a picture of me and a statue of Ray Charles on my Facebook page now, and I got our hands intertwined. But the caption is, all of our blood is red, And,
Mike, they back in the blocks, they still do a block thing every year, part of Foo Foo Fest.
Yeah.
And we, when that marker was dedicated for Five Sisters Blues Cafe, I got to perform that day. The band was on the stage down there, closed off Palafox Street like they do for
I was there.
Gallery Night. Yeah.
It was right before we did another one over at the in front of Five Sisters.
Yeah. And so, it's this whole area is steeped, incredibly steeped in the blues. And I'm telling you, Five Sisters Blues Cafe, the Blues Society gets to book their bands on Friday night, so you're going to have nothing but blues bands at a blues club. Isn't that a novel thing?
And they got soul food. What a concept.
Oh, that's great. And then on Thursdays, we're booking all the solo duo acts the second, third, and fourth weeks of every month.
Cool.
So our Blues Society, Mike, we're sticking our fingers into a lot of different pies.
That's right.
And working with the foundation in Memphis, we keep in close contact with them. We are one of the, probably, if not the busiest blues society in the country.
These are really community organizations. I mean, we have a lot of Mardi Gras crews here, and everybody thinks, oh, they live for Mardi Gras season and then it's over. No, they're working year-round, helping charities and kids and disadvantaged people. So that goes on all the time. I did want to say this because there's going to be people listening to this like, what are they really talking about here? I don't totally understand. When I had my radio show, and had built a pretty sizable audience, I got tired of people going, well, I don't like the blues, or I don't like jazz, or I don't like this. And I would always go, which type? And they go, jazz or blues. I go, there's different types. So I did a show. I says, coming up next week, and I had a 3-hour show, so I could do a lot. I said, we're going to do the 27 types of blues. And I mapped it all out. From R&B, even disco has an R&B source to the basis of that music. The gut bucket from back in the Robert Johnson days of the 20s and the 30s, and rock and classic rock, and all of these genres of music that do today center around a lot of rock and R&B and stuff. It's all based in the blues, and so it has brought so much, particularly like you said, Jim. It's America's music, and people go, oh. Now I get it. And when I was a kid, here's one more kid story. All my dad's people lived in big town of Cordova, Alabama in Walker County. And they kind of ran things in that town there. My cousins had a big antebellum. And on Fridays, they'd pick me up from Georgia Military Academy, and I'd either go with my parents or my grandparents. But we would pull up there, and I'd either jump on the tractor and bush hog with my Uncle Skinny. He was married to Zula. Sounds like Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and it was. But most of the time, I would run to the back of the property, and the descendants of the actual slaves that worked for my family in Civil War era days and prior, they lived on that property. And guess what, folks? They were our family. They're part of our family in their retirement, their medical, everything. And I'd go running back there, and I would just be, I don't know if it's mesmerized or hypnotized. I'm 5, 6, 7 years old. Hey, big boy, play that other song that you played for me last week, So I remember walking back this one night to the house, because back in those days, kids, if the street lights came on, you better be home, or it got dark. So I walked up, and those houses didn't have air conditioning. They had these big exhaust fans up in the attics that just blew like a wind tunnel through the house, and it kept it cool in the summer. And the kitchens were kind of off the side. But in the old days, the kitchen was really a separate building. So I walk up, and all the windows are open. So all the women are in the kitchen fixing dinner, and I knew to be home at dark. So I kind of stopped, and I was a little, with the kids back, the farm kids, I was playing in the dirt and stuff, so I was kind of cleaning myself off. And I was probably 7 or 8 years old, and all the windows were open, and my mom's in there, and my grandmother, and my aunt, my great aunt, cousin, but it's all the women in there, and they're all yakking. So I heard somebody, my grandmother, go, "Where's Mike? Where's Mike?" And they said, "Oh, you know him. He's back there." Listen, they would say, and this is with all due respect, which is how they talk. He said, "He's back there listening to the Negra music, and we don't understand it. We don't. It's like he's hypnotized by it. There's some kind of and I'm laughing. I'm standing outside going,
no spell.
It's got a good beat. You dance to it.
It's got a good groove.
And that's really what it's all about. But they, as adults, growing up in the South and all, my dad got it. My mom, I think, got it too, because my dad was a writer, and he worked with many of these musicians, black and white. So, but once you got into it, you can't, I guess once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. And once you're in it, you're in it. And it's like a club. You can't get out of it. And it gets in your blood, and it never really dies. I mean, even when it's not popular on radio, it's kind of like we're a bunch of hobbits in the underground playing the blues. We're not going away. You can find it. It's out there. So
yeah, when I first noticed and this is before I even started playing blues, but back when I was a young man, Led Zeppelin comes out, right?
Yep.
And rock and roll, these guys are great. 10, 15 years later, I'm listening to some blues now, and I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute, that sounds like a Led Zeppelin song. And then the more I kept listening, it's like, those guys ripped off all the blues guys.
Yeah, Willie Dixon in particular, and he had a thing called the Living Blues Foundation, which was to collect royalties for guys that got screwed out of their money.
Yeah.
And he collected a bunch of money.
Well, I mean,
Led
because
Zeppelin.
the songs are almost note for note identical without giving the original artist any credit. They just ripped them off. But
you got to laugh at the English.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm back then, people going, well, you're a surfer. You listen to Janet and the Beach Boys. I go, who's that? I listen to John Lee Hooker and Muddy Waters and the Rolling Stones and, the Yardbirds. And they're like, well, who are those other guys? I go, they're these English bands. I don't know what they're playing, but I love it. Well, the English were smart. Of course, you go over there, and I asked Kat Rhodes when she got back from Italy a month ago. I go, so do the Italians really know anything about the blues? She goes, Mike, they know more about blues and jazz than we do. They study this music. They have an appreciation. I think it's come around here, but that they get it. But a lot of them are a little more cultural, I guess you would say. And they look at it. It's the arts. It's not just some guy banging on a guitar. But anyway, Jim, it looks like we got a lot of stuff coming up. If you can't find the Blues Society, just go to MikeCottonProductions.com. At the bottom of all of our website pages, there's 2 buttons. One button will take you to our main Facebook page. Super fluid. There's action. Stuff's happening on there every day. You can message us and go, hey, what was the thing Jim was talking about on the boat? Whatever. We'll get right back to you. And the other one will take you to our YouTube channel. We have lots and lots of music. We just surpassed 500,000 views of a Dean Dillon solo concert that Dave and I filmed a few years ago at the Floribama. It's just Dean and his guitar. By the way, you don't know Dean Dillon. He wrote Tennessee Whiskey. So, and also 21 number 1 hits for George Strait. So a lot going on. And we do ask for your participation, right?
Yeah, that's right. You know what? Like I said, there's never a cover charge on Monday nights. You just show up at Seville Quarter, get yourself a seat, enjoy some good music, have a nice little meal, a couple of cocktails, and I guarantee you.
Very safe.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of good friends around you.
Any
Single
females
ladies
that come by themselves, if they want to walk out, if they don't feel comfortable, we always have staff. We'll walk you right out to your car.
Exactly. Well, I guess that's about it, and we'll pay a little rent later. We got a few things we got to sell, but I do want to thank Jim Richmond. Jim, thanks for coming. We're actually on the video.
My pleasure.
We're on the video. Wave to the camera, Jim. So
peace.
And did a great job, and we have repeat guests on here. We do some. We're going to do one with Dave Barnes on all the famous people that he's met in his career and the bloopers that happen. So it's gonna with who? What did you say?
God help us.
God help us. Yeah. So we're going to have repeat, and we'll bring Jim back. Maybe Scott. Scott's a little camera shy, but
Scott's good. Scott's good on the camera.
Yeah,
we
so-
made a video together
yeah, I made a joke with him
a
last
while
night.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of wouldn't talk to me, and I was like, "Come on, you can come on here." But anyway, so guests like this, we're going to bring them back because there's new stuff happening, new stuff coming out, and you could get dialed in. If you're not in the Northwest Florida or South Alabama region, reach out to your clubs. Find out there's probably a blues society either existing or maybe if people are trying to start one up. You can do that and call us. Get in touch with us. We can tell you if you're not real sure. This nonprofit corporation course is important. So I guess we're going to get on out of here. I'm hungry for lunch right now. This will probably drop. Of course, this is undated, but I would say before the end of April for sure. This should drop, and that announcement will be everywhere. So you could pick up the link. And this is actually live in studio with cameras, and then there'll be a lot of visuals. And we'll be. I'll get back to Jim. I know he's got some video clips and things like that we'll show during the middle of the show as well. So just remember, some people are famous. Some people are sort of famous. But most of us aren't famous at all, but everybody's got great stories. We do thank you for coming out and visiting us in the world-class studio, Pensacola, Florida, of Mark Snoopy Schultz. And all of his electronics in here is pretty freaking amazing. We'll see you next time on, what are we? With Their Stories. Bye-bye now.